20s is a very tricky time because, on average, this is the time of your life where you are the most free with the least responsibilities. You're only responsible for you, yourself, and you. It's also in your 20s that you lay the financial foundation for the rest of your life. What you do in your 20s determines how your 30s, 40s, even retirement will shake out. So, on one hand, this is a time when you should enjoy that freedom, live it up, explore, adventure, travel. But on the other hand, what you do or don't do in your 20s determines if you will spend the next decades, your 30s, 40s, and maybe 50s, paying for it. This year is 40 for me. Having gone through 20s and 30s, let me give you an honest assessment on the one thing you should spend your 20s getting right. Everything else we can discuss in a different video. It's correctable, it's fixable. But the one thing that if you should get it right in your 20s will make 40s, 50s, 60s a lot easier, regardless of whatever financial mistake you make. It's a lot easier to fix if you get this one thing right. This may be controversial, but ask any 30-year-old, any 40-year-old, heck, any 50-year-old, and they will concur. The one thing you should get right in your 20s is to get a high paying job. Focus all that time and energy in making sure you have a high paying job. What's a high paying job? Any job that pays enough to cover your essential bills and still have a lot left over. And by essential bills, I mean essential bills when you're on your own. I understand in our 20s, a lot of us may not have a lot of bills because you are subsidizing, you're living with parents, living with family, and so your bill isn't the same as it would be if you were on your own. Well, put that in mind. The key point is to have a job or a career that gives you a lot of residual income. Let me tell you why that matters. Every financial goal, and I mean every single one of them, is a lot easier to achieve when you have a good residual income. Saving, retirement, building wealth, giving. It takes money to make money. It's a lot easier to hit those goals, be it in your 20s, 30s, when you have income that gives you that major gap between what you need to pay and what you get to keep. Someone who does everything right in your 20s controls your spending, lives below their means. One thing they can't control is how much is coming in. So they could do everything right in terms of not overspending, living below their means. But if their income is low, it's a slower pace to building wealth. It's a slower pace to achieve the financial goal. It will still get done, but it's at a slower pace compared to someone who makes a higher income. Even with the mistakes they make, they can easily correct that mistake and be on a faster trajectory to building wealth. I'm using natural daylight, so it's going to be in and out. Things are going to be changing, but that's what keeps it interesting. How do you go about getting a high paying job? Well, that's what your 20s is for. Use that freedom, use that time, use that energy, but most importantly, that time to hone in to find a high paying job. Put yourself in a position to get you a high paying job, be it through school, be it through training, be it whatever. Your focus in your 20s, your primary focus when it comes to your finances in your 20s is to invest everything to making sure you are in a position where you receive a higher income. There's a famous quote, I'm sure you've heard it so many times: follow your passion. That is the most incomplete statement ever. Ever. For several reasons. One, at this age, a lot of us don't even have a passion. I mean, we were only teenagers a few years ago, right? At this stage, we don't have a passion. Heck, I'm in my 40s and I honestly can't even tell you what my passion is. Yes, okay, fine. My passion is chilling, having a good time, spending without having to think about it, getting whatever. That's my passion. Do you see how that doesn't make sense? If you're one of those who is blessed to have a passion, there are two things involved. Is it a lucrative passion? Is it one of those with direct route to high income? If you're one of those who have a passion in STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, that's a direct route to a high paying job. Great. You're good. Follow that, run with it. You are on the direct route to earning a high income. And then, come back and watch the next video that I do on other major financial milestones you should hit in your 20s. Now, for those of us whose passion is not a direct route to high income, perhaps your passion is crocheting, perhaps your passion is cooking. Your job in your 20s is then to figure out how can you make it lucrative? How can you monetize this passion? Rather than spending all your evenings and weekends just whiling away time, and spend that time and energy figuring out how to make your interest and passion lucrative, how to monetize it in a way that brings in good money. I mean, you can monetize it and it's only bringing 20K a year. That's rubbish. How you can actually, is there potential to have this make you high income? If there isn't a potential, you're going to have to turn around. The good thing with passion is you're going to do it regardless because it's a passion. We have a lot of resources at our disposals now. You have books, you have podcasts you can listen to, you have YouTube videos you can watch to learn how you could possibly make this a high earning income for you. You know, I remember when I was, not that I had a lucrative passion, but I remember when I was working, I used to listen to Guy Ross. He had a podcast called How I Built This or How I Did This. Loved it, and it just kept that. I had a product I wanted to develop. I was in my 30s, so and it kept that engine burning, that fire burning. I was like, oh, if I had the time, I could just really focus on getting this thing done. If that's your interest, if you were like me, you have a product you wanted to build, this is the time. This is the time. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to enjoy your 20s. And now I have another video coming that will talk about other financial milestones, including enjoying your 20s, living it up, because honestly, you should. But you do have a lot of time that you can devote to making sure by the end of your 20s, you're in a position where you are making a good income that leaves you with a lot of residual income. It's either you find a way to monetize your passion or you accept that your passion will be your hobby, period. I know we've been told doing your passion as work is what fulfills you, is fulfillment. I know that. But you know what kills fulfillment? Being financially frustrated. You can be doing what you love, but if you can't pay your bills and be financially secure, because being financially secure is beyond paying your bills. You need to have enough to put towards retirement. You need to have enough to put towards savings. You're looking at having a family. Oh, guess what? You need to have enough to at least do those family things you would love to do, create those memories you would love to do. Some memories don't cost money, but a lot of it takes money. When you can't do that, when you can't afford to do that, you're always counting every penny. You're always having to calculate. You always have to borrow here and give to here. That will kill any joy you have in doing what you love. I, you can double check that with anyone. I can guarantee you, run that by anyone. That is a fact. You can be doing the biggest thing that gives you the greatest joy. You are curing cancer. But if every day you don't even know if you have enough for retirement because you can't put anything to retirement, or you're unable to save for an emergency, and so every emergency becomes a crisis rather than inconvenience, as much as you're grateful that you're curing cancer, you'll be so frustrated, so frustrated because money stress is something else. It's the Maslow theory of needs, the hierarchy of our needs. You can't achieve self-actualization when you haven't achieved your physiological needs and security. And part of that security is financial security. Let me reiterate this because I don't want you to misunderstand. I'm not against following your passion. What I'm saying is if you must follow passion, you must ensure you find a way to make it lucrative. Spend your 20s working ruthlessly to make it lucrative, or you need to get a high paying job you are comfortable with. You don't hate it. You may not love it, but you're comfortable with. I know we hear stories every day about people who make multiple six figures and then they quit their job because it's not fulfilling. Here's what a lot of us miss with those stories. It's great to have the option to quit. It's better to get to quit than to be stuck in a low income job. Stuck because you don't have a backup plan, because you have bills you can't afford to pay, because you haven't been able to save up to get to quit. You haven't been able to save up in your retirement to get to quit, save up in your emergency fund to get to quit. That low income job becomes your, I have to, I've been there. You know, you hate what you're doing, but or even if you like what you're doing, even if you enjoy what you're doing, but it doesn't pay enough, you can't quit. You need every penny coming in. Compared to if you've had a high income job and you're like, you know what, I'm sick of this. I don't want to do this anymore. For the next 3 years, we're going to be putting away half of our income. For the next 5 years, we're going to be paying off this mortgage quickly so I can get to quit. For the next 3 years, we're going to be ramping up 401k so I can get to quit and live on my emergency funds while I find something else. It's better to have the option to quit than to be stuck because you can't quit. And you should know STEM jobs are not the only lucrative jobs. In fact, Blue collar jobs are on the rise. Of course, no one can predict the future. We never know what will take over. I mean, who saw social media coming? Who saw YouTubers making millions coming? Who saw that coming, right? So you can't predict certain things. There are several routes to earning high income. So just because I mentioned STEM earlier does not mean that is the only route. I know what you're thinking. Well, love it. What if you get this high paying job and then you get laid off? After all, we've had all these people in tech who got laid off. They thought their career was a sure thing and their income was a sure thing. Listen, there are things beyond your control, right? They're just what are you going to do, right? But most of the time, when you have those high income jobs, you have skills that even if you're laid off, those skills are still high earning skills. And so you can still be marketable, or you can even monetize those skills in any one way or the other. Those are things beyond your control. Even if you followed your passion, let's just say you followed your interests, you're not guaranteed success, right? Regardless of what you do, you're not guaranteed success. There are so many, and I'm going to go with a low hanging fruit. There's so many great actors, people that are honestly born to be entertainers, but they never succeed. A lot of good actors are not getting work, right? For every Jim Carrey, there are 10 other could have, would have been Jim Carrey. For every Steve Harvey who struck it hard later on in life, there are 10 other could have, would have been Steve Harvey. Career security is not the point. High income is. When you've placed yourself in a trajectory to earn higher wages, side hustle who? Hello, emergency fund. Hello, maxed out 401k. Hello, paid off car. Hello, you want to pay off your mortgage? Hello, paid off mortgage. Can you do this without high income? Yes, you can, but it will take a lot more. Hello, side hustles, right? I'm not knocking side hustles. I'm not. I'm just saying when your primary income brings in a lot of money, then side hustle becomes optional so you can diversify your sources of income. But when your income is low, side hustle is not optional. Side hustle is a must do. I hope you get the point. So I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it's a lot easier to hit these financial goals and a lot faster to hit the financial goals. Saving, you can now do more than one thing at a time. You can afford to pay down debt while saving, or pay down debt faster and do a lot more saving and investing at a faster pace. Giving yourself a solid foundation makes it easier to build, which is what you'll spend your 30s and your 40s and your 50s, given the way they were talking about retirement age, possibly your 60s, doing. This video was to focus on this primary thing you should get right. I will be doing another video on other financial milestones you should hit in your 20s. And like I said, I'm realistic with it. You should enjoy it, right? You should enjoy it, enjoy the freedom and all that. So I'm realistic with my advice when it comes to financial milestones you hit. So I hope you subscribed so you're notified when I upload that video. It's not the next one. Hopefully it's the one after that about financial milestones you should hit in your 20s. And let's talk about it in the comments. Let me know. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Especially those of you in your 30s. I know a lot of you watching me are in your 20s, between your 20s and 30s, but a good chunk also 30s and 40s. Those of you who are past your 20s, do you agree? What do you think? Chime in. I would really love to hear it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.